here's a study that was done on the brain usage of Amazon when you're reading a book. When you're reading a book, I say Amazon. But when you're reading a book versus when you're doing a Google search. And what's interesting is that we're actually potentially being rewired as a society in ways that we don't even know. So, what I talk about, what I try to talk about and heed the warning is that I think these technologies are amazing, and I am, born and raised of that generation. But I do think that we have to be very careful that we appreciate the changes that we are going through as a society. And what I showed in terms of rewiring specifically is that we're using different parts of our brains. We are becoming different humans as a result of it. So what does that mean? And when you start really thinking about the first generation that's really born digital, we all talk about born digital, but this is the first generation truly born digital. What does it mean to the way they think, or they're going to approach life, or I don't know. So my point is not that it's a negative or a positive, but just is something that we need to be aware of. And that, look, society is going through a major transformation that hasn't been seen in a long time from any other technology. 85% of Americans right now have broadband access. We all know that. We're all in the space. Every day, one of those 15% dies, and one of these new, for the first time ever, truly born digital people emerge. So we are, as a society, approaching 100% digital connectivity. So what does that really mean? Well, if you look at the only close microcosm that we have, which is Korea, which is 98% digitally connected, they just recently announced that internet addiction is a real addiction, so much so that they believe 10% of their youth population is already addicted to the internet and 30% are at risk. In schools, they teach how to use the internet responsibly. They sing songs. They have banner ads and posters, just like I remember growing up with your brain on drugs. Another piece of research shows that, in fact, dopamine levels are risen by the usage of these technologies in the exact same way that it happens with cocaine. So maybe these technologies are actually a drug. In fact, maybe we're being drugged into a participatory society, and Twitter is the gateway drug. Look, I think that connected viewing experience or connected experience, that's horrible. I think that is going to transform more and more. So I think I'm going to watch TV, and I'm going to watch the beloved Giants, what Gary watches. For me, the hated Jets, not really, but his beloved Jets, and they're going to be playing, and we're going to be talking trash, and I'm going to see it run down along the side of a TV. And I think when you see what Samsung is doing right now with the open app store, I think that eventually these connected experiences are going to come together. I think search is going to become so much more powerful because it's not just going to be what Google thinks is smart, but it's going to be connected to what my Facebook friends think are smart or who they follow. So I think it's this connection and bringing these digital social or these social networks into other forms of our life that are going to be pretty tremendous. I think a lot of times big organizations, folks in general, try to let perfect be the enemy of the good. And by this I mean, if you look at the people who are winning in this space, they're this iterative culture. Google is an iterative culture. Zynga is an iterative culture. So much so that when we talk inside we need to really build on the power of iteration and the power of portfolio. So when you look at Zynga, Zynga has 20 top social games. We don't have 20 top apps of any kind. Why? Because we always believe that we're going to be able to build the next big thing versus thinking about building small things and figuring out what works and then scaling up. And that's what I really admire about what the Zynga guys do. It's a bunch of developers and quants. And they test out little experimentation, and then if it works, they roll it across an entire portfolio. And so how do we get more into the portfolio and iteration mindset versus into we have to have only the next big thing? Well, all the PepsiCo 10 companies are going to be innovative pilots. And I think what's interesting is that, it's a think different approach for us as an organization, and we're excited about bringing these technologies to life, and even more than just bringing them to life, the ability to learn from them. And so I think that's crucial. So I think just the learning agenda is innovative in and of itself.